Hello and welcome back. Right, today what we're going to be doing is something that frustrated me, to be honest. I didn't realise how much work was involved just to change a shell. I bought this as a McLaren P1 and it comes with a 98mm shell, and I've always wanted to run one of these LM shells. Now, as far as I knew, or I thought, it was just a case of unscrewing this plate here, moving it back a notch, making it 102mm. How wrong can you be? So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to take these screw out here in the bottom. I've already undone the shock on the top, so it will just fall out. And then normally what you'd do is you'd run it back a slot, so you got that gap, makes it 102, and then you'd have two screws that go in here, one here. I'll only pinch it up because it's just a quick video. One there and one there. Thinking, oh, the shell's going to work now because it's a right wheelbase. No, because the motor's sat in the wrong place, it catches and you can't get the body shell down. So what you have to do is, took a little bit of research, not too difficult, but I just thought I'd make it a bit easier for anybody else that wanted to run an LM shell. Is first thing you'll need is this part here, which is motor case set type LM for mr03, part number mz305. That is this when it's built up. Comes in parts, you have to build it up. Just follow the instructions, ever so easy, and it will come with two motor mounting plates. Sorry, I can't get any front and back for the motor because this motor sits differently in this car. You'll also need, because I found this whippy little bit of plastic, here, it's no good, it's too floppy, too flexible. So instead I went and got carbon rear suspension plate set MZW403, which comes in a pack of 3, various thicknesses, which is just these, just carbon plates. Definitely recommend these, brilliant. And also what you will need, because the wheels aren't wide enough and it catches on here on the drive, so you'll have to buy, which is this diff gear assembly MZ302. That is this beautiful little thing here, which is slightly longer than the original. So what I'll do is, when I take this apart, I will show you what I mean about the width and how the motor sits. So let's get cracking. Right, so we're going to take the wheels off first, just to get them out of the way. Makes life a lot easier. Put them to one side. Drive shaft pulled straight out. Sorry about the lighting, it's not very good today. But... so there's my wheels, and the nuts put to one side. So this is the drive shaft that comes with in the WMM, and this is the other one you need. It's only ever so slightly, but it is quite a bit of difference in the height. I don't know if you can see that properly. Sorry, I got a bit of shakes today. It's quite a bit longer. So I'm going to put that to one side because we don't need that anymore. I'm going to leave the motor screwed in just because it's just a lot less hassle trying to get the wires in. You'll see what I mean when I do this motor plate. So the lighting isn't very good. I'll put that screw to one side and move that way. It's a bit better. So what we're going to do is going to pull this clip here. I'm just going to pop that top off. like that. Go to one side, slide the motor up. Now this is an ideal time if you want to change the motor over to an X speed like I already have, or you want to put a different size pinion on it so you can change the mounts for the motor. It'd be an ideal time to do it. Pull this section off, and then we're going to put this new piece on. Sit flat. Pull this piece off and put this new piece on. Which, if I remember, goes this way round. I know I skipped a step here because I've already assembled this, but like I said, it's easy enough to do from the instructions. So I'm just going to get this ready. You will need your old bearings out the other section, so I just normally use a drive and just give it a wiggle. Don't want to ruin your bearings, but they come out easy enough, to be fair. Put that to one side. So we're going to put the bearings in. Like that. And then we're going to sit this motor back in. This plate's a bit fiddly because that, there you go. I say fiddly, wasn't that hard, was it? We're going to get the, I'll put that in last. I'm going to put the carbon plate on, which I'll sit on these two lugs here. Push that in. 2 screws. Oh no, I haven't. So I need the screws off of this one. Didn't think about that, did I? You'll notice on this setup as well, the shock mount works differently. It actually works, it's better, I think. You haven't got that horrible little, what feels, well, just feels very cheap and plasticky. So I need those screws so I can go back over that. So I'm going to put these screws in here. So I need to get a tripod. So we're going to screw these in. Always remember, never over tighten these, but you will find these very stiff to put in. Pinch it up. Lovely. Next one. It's going in a bit easier, this one. So that's that done. Now what you can do is you can get your top half. This works on like a little floating system, which is it's pretty cool. So you'll find it easier to clip this in from the front of the motor, start off with, and then yeah, just making sure I've got it over. Push it down, clip it in place. So that. Once that's done, I would tuck these wires, these 2 wires here, I'd tuck them under that, like that. And then I would feed those through. Now these go on the 2 back holes that you don't normally use. And these 2 back holes here. Okay, so that is probably not the best place for it actually. Keeps the wires out of the way. I'll sort the wires out afterwards. So what we want to do now, plates fell out. Sorry about that. So I'm going to put that back in place. So we're going for a 102. It should be just that. Then you'll have 2 fittings, which are the longer screws. So one in there, like that. And we'll have one in there, like that. Do these two up. Pinch them up. And you'll notice that it's still got a bit of flex on there, but it's not as much flex this way as what that cheap bit, really thin bit of plastic that comes with the original is. So the next thing we have to do is we've got 2 screws to put in at the top here, which I've already got. So got one in there and one in there. So I'm going to do those up. Sorry, I keep my hand in the light down there. And the last thing to do with this section is put shock on. So your shock will mount up to this piece here. I'm just going to pull these wires out actually first before I do anything, because they are in the way. Yeah, it's my fault for tucking them in. There you go, that should be. No, that's better. They're out of the way, but there, go down. So what you want to do, let's get this last screw. This is always fiddly because you have to compress it. But right, so now we've got fiddly. There you go. It's just clipped into place. I'll hold the shock still. There you go. I definitely recommend, before putting it all together, take the screws that you need, put them in the plastic sections that are going to be screwed in. So you're going to pre-thread them, because if you try to do it when you're trying to assemble them like this, it's an absolute nightmare. You'll end up twisting things, slipping off the screws, and it's just, that's just a pain really, to be honest with you. So the shock works now, still goes up and down, but it's got that sideways movement in it as well, which I think works a lot better. It's limiting as well, so it stops it over twisting, unlike the original piece that was in it. So now we want to do, so we want to get the one wheel. We can stick that on the drive shaft, stick that on the drive. I've already pre-glued these tyres. I'm using radials 30 sure, I think they are. I've already got a screw in there, not in there, so we're just going to be screwing that up, pinching it, just pinching it. Then you're going to thread this through that bearing, straight through the other side, just wiggle it, there you go. And now it's on. Get the other wheel, find the flat spot, there it is. Put that on there. Now I will say, when you put these screw, doesn't seem very good, does it? Get a new one. When you do put these motors in, you've got to watch it, because this little board here will catch on the wheel and pull it off, so you've got to be very careful. Just going to move mine out of the way completely as I've snapped the wire That's going to need resoldering. Great. Oh well, nothing's without its hiccups. So that is the mod to change it to a 102 wheelbase to fit an LM shell. I'll put it on, show you how it sits. Now these shells are extremely tight. See what I mean about the diff here? On that shorter one, that diff gear sits in and hits this piece here, and the wheels are way too narrow. So that is your 102 LM conversion. I hope this helps. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. Peace.